Very good opportunity for us to get ahead this week. We've installed all of our first and second down stuff, and so for us only to be on a Sunday afternoon to be that far ahead is extremely beneficial for our players and our staff as we move into third down and red zone. So really good day today. Thought guys were excited to get back out here. I'm sure they watched a lot of college football yesterday, so probably excited them to get back out to practice, and very spirited practice, which is great to see.
Did you watch much football yesterday?
Not really. I really basically just watched the late game because of obviously us playing Washington.
What were your impressions of Washington coming out?
Well, I thought Sark was right. You know, he said in his post game that the score wasn't necessarily indicative of where he felt the programs were. You know, obviously Oregon's one of the best programs in the country, and Washington's not that far behind it. So I thought that was true. You know, he got some breaks early, and the game just got out of hand.
There's some reports of you considering moving Josh Shaw to cornerback. What are you looking for before you decide to make that decision on where you're going to put him?
Well, we're just really we're just kind of searching every avenue, and obviously he's got a little background in it, something that he wanted to do a while ago, and we did do it with him at one point in camp. So it's not that hard of a move to put him back there and see what he can do out there.
Is there anything about that move that might prevent him from being where you want him to be at safety next year?
Sure, you know, that's always a concern, but he's a very smart kid, very aware, knows both of our safety spots, so I don't think it'll be an issue with him.
You guys moved up a few spots in the coaches' poll with the losses of some of the other teams. Are you aware of that?
I did not know that.
What do you think of that? I mean, back in the top 10?
No, just the same thing as when we go the other direction. You know, it's not, we can't control it. It's out of our control, and so we don't worry about it, don't pay attention to it. There's a lot of football left, and as we all know, you know, every week changes.
What do you think it does to Washington to lose that way as far as your game is concerned?
I don't think it does very much. Probably just refocus them, like, you know, what usually happens when you lose, and sometimes you have a better week of practice. So you know, he's always subscribed to the theory that, you know, a win's a win and a loss is a loss, and so he's kind of always talked that way, and that's how they've been. They've won a lot of really big games, and sometimes you know, their losses end up blowouts, and he's right. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you either got a win or you got a loss. So they'll be ready to go. And as you can see, they're a completely different team when they play at home and when they play on the road. You know, this is a team that I think they're 3-0 at home this year, and they play really well at home.
After watching the last game, it seems like there might be a situation that you'll be put in where maybe one or two backs are all you have as options. Is there something you do differently in practice to get guys ready for maybe having to carry the ball 20 times?
Well, you know, we try to practice our guys a lot like that, you know, when they're healthy. And unfortunately, you know, the last couple of weeks we haven't really the whole season haven't had those three guys really truly healthy. So you know, and that happened again in the game the other night. You know, that's the second time, you know, already this season in only 5 games where, you know, the 2 guys were out. And the first time the 2 guys were out, DJ was already out. So really the first 3 guys were out. So you know, we just got to continue to work with the guys, and everyone's going to have to shoulder the load.
Would you seriously put Marquise at corner, or was that more of a joke the other night?
Well, we have discussed it, and you know, we just got to figure out, you know, we just don't want that to take away from what he does on offense. He's one of the best players in the country, and he's so dynamic, and he changes. Even when you don't throw him the ball, he changes the defenses that you see, and so he helps the run game that way and helps the other receivers and tight ends. So you know, that's where we're at on it. That it's pretty hard to put him over there very much if it was going to have to take reps away from offense.
Would you have a concern about injury too? I mean, where you're initiating contact instead of avoiding it?
I don't think you can think that way. We don't think that way. You know, we put him on our special teams. He's been a gunner out there. So yeah, we don't think that way. I don't think any plays more likely to get injured.
Does that mean it's unlikely he would play corner?
We have not moved him to corner yet. It's something that we've discussed. We just really have not come up with a final answer on it.
In general, this year you guys are giving up on defense much fewer yards per play than the last couple of years. Do you really attribute that drop to anything in particular? It's a pretty significant drop.
Well, I think that, you know, we're not giving up as many explosive plays as we did the first 2 years, definitely in the passing game. But Also, you know, you want to evaluate the whole season when you get to the end of it. You know, you got to be careful with the stats and who you play and all that stuff. And we have not played the quality quarterbacks that we had played in the previous 2 years at this point. You know, and so I think you got to take that into, you know, before we make this statement. Boy, we're so, you know, we've improved so much on defense. You know, we got to make sure that, you know, we look at the whole thing together.
You did mention giving up fewer big plays. And I guess, is there anything that's changed in that regard?
Yeah, we've just done a better job in the secondary. Marvin's done a great job coaching them. The players have stayed deep and not given up a bunch of explosive plays. And we've made teams have to work, and that's why the scoring has been lower. Because guys have had to work to go down the field, and then a lot of times the offense screws it up.
It seems there's been a few issues on the punt teams as far as 12 men or delay game penalties. Is there like something organizationally during a game that happens that makes that a harder team to transition to in a game?
It shouldn't be. You know, unfortunately, we've screwed it up. You know, we do have a number of freshmen on there. You know, Junior Palme's really first time really playing for us much on there, and so I'm on there, and so we just had some communication issues. One time, Junior didn't go in, and you know, so Max Turk's on there too. We're just really, you know, we got to do a better job coaching it.
We've talked the last few weeks a lot about the left side of the line, left tackle. It seemed like against Utah you ran the ball pretty effectively on the right. How is that group doing? I mean, how's the line doing collectively? And Graff and Martinez on the right side, have they been consistent? Have they improved? How would you kind of?
Yeah, they have. That was not about our personnel though. That game plan was directly about 92, and that was really to get him in certain spots in the run game. And I thought that it was very efficient. Really, his negative play that he makes in the run game was a wrong call. Matt had called a wrong wristband play. We weren't even in that personnel where he came free, so we blocked it off. I thought our guys did a good job keeping him on the backside of runs and containing him. So that's why it wasn't about our personnel, it was about theirs.
But how have they done it? Give him sacked and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're both very similar players. They're very efficient. They don't make many mistakes. You know, they play together well too.
Even though Robert was fine when he came back, did he have to have any testing done when he came back to LA from that game?
Yeah, they checked him out again. You know, he was fully clear to go back in. That's not my call at all. You know, that's our doctors, and they're very safe with it. Like I said on the conference call, we had another player, a significant player, not play the whole game because of not passing the test. And so I know as bad as the hit looked and what happened afterwards with the hit, you know, he passed all the tests and they put him back in.
That's good.
Yeah.